start though. We have a new Territorial Commander, Commissioner Janine Donaldson, and we are very honoured to have Commissioner Janine join with us today, and we're going to have a bit of a chat to her and introduce her to you. So, hello, Janine, how
Kia
are you?
ora, Ka. Lovely to see you. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here and for your time, because I'm sure you've got lots of things going on. But yeah, it's nice to just introduce you to those who are connected to our women's ministries, for those who don't know you. So could we start by just asking you to tell us a little bit about what you've done prior to this? You're a Kiwi and you've come home, but you've been overseas. What have you done prior to this in your officership?
Okay, so yes, I'm a very proud Kiwi and also very delighted to be home, but have had privileged appointments. So on New Zealand soil, we've been corps officers and also had appointments at the training college. And I also, for a period of time, was a Territorial Candidate Secretary. Overseas appointments, we first started at Chikinkata in 1992. We were appointed to the secondary school, and Robert was a business manager, and I actually taught at the school. I taught religious education. Then we moved to the training college in Lusaka, and we were there for 4 years. Came back to the Timaru Corps, which was wonderful, for 3 years, and then moved to what was then known as Auckland Congress Hall. Back down to the training college, I was assistant training principal, and that's when I took on the candidate's role, which I really loved. And then we were appointed to South Africa, and we came, I was then very involved in women's ministry in Africa and absolutely loved it, because I was then the TSWM in South Africa, and just loved that. Loved what was happening there in that space. And then we moved back. Robert was the territorial leader here, and I, by his side, was the TPWM. And so I was a little involved, like with the new logo, when Rosie was with us, and again, just had a heart for the women of the territory. Then we were appointed to back to IHQ, and I worked in the Spare Office in that role as the International Secretary for the Zone in Women's Ministry. So had this enormous privilege of seeing, I mean, our part of the world, the Spare part, is so varied and so interesting, and I just think that was so exciting for me to see what was happening. And then we were appointed to Australia. And again, Australia had gone through a lot of changes, not dissimilar to some of the changes that happens now. So we had to look at women's ministry, and we didn't, we wanted to hold on to and be true to it, and yet we had to be realistic. How would it look in the new way? So we grappled with that and prayed over that. And then we have, more recently, we were appointed as General's representatives for effectiveness and mission, and that's let me just very briefly explain that. The General had really on his heart this passion that we had places around the world where the Salvation Army was doing so much work, but they always struggled. Perhaps it was finance, perhaps it was personnel, and he really wanted to know, why are they struggling on a long-term basis? Why is it we never seem to be able to resolve some of these things? What needs to happen? And it was a two-way thing. It wasn't just about the territory. It was about IHQ. What were we not hearing? What were we not offering that was helpful? And so we embarked on this very new journey of actually working that out, and just loved his heart for that. His heart to say, gosh, so many things are going well, but these things keep not happening, keep being frustrating for everybody. And we were able to just sort of untangle. We'd sit with a territory for usually a month and just listen to their hearts and work out what is it that IHQ could improve on. And we have seen those improvements happen, especially in finance, how we can connect with people better, how we can transverse different languages and how they understand compared to perhaps how we see things. So that was a very, very fulfilling and privileged appointment, to really sit with people and hear from their hearts, and to understand a little bit more about the Salvation Army at work in other parts of the world.
That's cool. So you've had a huge range of things all around the world, by the sounds of it. So where are your children then? Are they in New Zealand, or have they been left at various places around the world as you've moved?
Well, we have 3 adult sons, and our eldest son is 40, and they tour in Melbourne. Our 2 eldest are in Melbourne. They've been there for a very long time, and our youngest son lives quite close here in Wellington. He lives in Upper Hutt.
Okay. Oh, well, that's nice. So you're
very nice, and we have 2 grandchildren in Melbourne.
Oh, okay. So you're still going to have to pop back across the ditch
Correct.
from time to time to visit.
Correct.
Oh, well, at least you're not so far away.
Not at all. It's very easy, isn't it? Just a one there.
Absolutely. So to help us get to know you personally a little bit more, could you tell us if there is a favourite book or movie that's left a real lasting impression on you, but not the Bible? We're going to take it as a given that the Bible has. Is there something else? Of course.
Look, there's several, I was trying to pin down like one, but I can't. There's several things that I like about some movies, and even some of the children's stories. I love, like Toy Story, because I know some of the language goes over the children, but there's just so many values there about friendships and doing the right thing. I love the story of like something like Mrs. Doubtfire, where I think it really opened up in the day that it was okay, if families sadly weren't together, there was still love, and families could look different. And I think that, that in the day that really helped people to feel okay about differences. I think they were quite ahead of their time looking at that, and how we grapple when things, maybe we have our own thoughts of how things should work out, they don't, and how do we, especially as Christians, deal with that. So those sort of movies I really love, and I mean there's lots of others, but I do like them where they're kind of fun and they take you on a journey, but really and I use some of the lines from some of those movies. I find them quite helpful.
Okay.
So
yeah, cool. Well, thank you. And tell us, what do you do to unwind after you've had a busy day?
Okay, so I love to walk. Walking is really important. I like to meet with people and have coffee. I'm a bit of a social person, so I really love that, and have to be drawn back to really what I'm perhaps meant to be doing, or that people are really important to me, and hearing from people's hearts, people's stories. I love that. Love reading. I also have some other interesting things that are quite different. I've driven an open wheel racing car in Johannesburg around a racetrack. I've landed in a simulator, a 747, twice. And just recently I had my first flying lesson.
Cool. There you go. Well, I've learned something about you now. Well, that's cool. So tell us then, what is the main driver in your life? What is the thing that gets you up out of bed in the morning?
I just love the mornings. I'm a real morning person, and I love watching the sunrise. I love the freshness of the morning, and I love the gift of the morning. I think, choruses, of course, that I grew up with, that are all meaningful for us in different generations. Let the morning bring. I can't go outside without your presence. Let your presence be with me. Those are the things that, and a good cup of coffee, of course, but those are the things. I just love it. I love in Scripture where it says, darkness comes, but morning, the light will come. I don't know, those things just resonate with me as a person, and I'm energized by that.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing, and we want to assure you of our prayers as you begin this new role. And thank you for your time. It's good to get to know you, and we'll leave it there for now. So thank you, Janine.
Thank you, Carla, for having me. I feel very honoured. Bless you.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody. Ka kite.